Are you seeing smaller events in your market? And John was noticing that prior to 2020, we were really kind of getting down to the 150 range. Since COVID, he's been hearing a lot of, even under 100. Are you seeing something similar with yours?
Yeah, actually, I got a wedding I just met with a couple. They have 60 guests. I'm like, oh, fun. And half of it, and like 10 of them is a wedding party, like five on each side. So, yeah, I think they are trending down mostly probably due to food costs and alcohol costs. And I know the venue doesn't change and we don't change, for the amount of guests. But I think with rising food cost and dessert and alcohol, that they could be trending down to um, try to cut costs realistically.
And I think you hit on it. I think where you're going to see where you're not going to see the downturn is going to be those venues that allow you to pretty much do just about everything, right? They allow you to bring in the alcohol. Maybe you have an offsite caterer. That there's still some issues potentially with there that could create some numbers. But the more that the couples can do themselves or have control over themselves, I think the larger the parties are going to be. But you hit on it, like food costs, alcohol costs, all that kind of stuff is rising, and so this is a way to cut it out. I mean, you cut out two, three people, that's sometimes $200-300 depending upon the place. So that's the quickest way potentially to save money for a lot of couples without sacrificing the quality of a lot of things. So I will say I've kind of had a mixed bag. I don't see them under 100. I say that although my wedding, 2 weekends ago was one of those rather small ones, but the couple was from out of the area, so I chalked it up more to that. I'm seeing more in like the 120-ish. So not dipping all the way down under 100, but definitely down from the 150 range. Um, I also would say like I wonder how much of this has been the barns, right? Barns are really popular. You're not fitting 300 people in a barn. Well, none of the barns around where I'm at. So I think that's been another thing is like the venue size has also caused a restriction because you don't have a place to put people to eat
True.
in that kind of aspect. So, but so definitely downturn. Um,
Yep.
and I think you hit the nail on the head as to why. So just be aware of that is coming. And your guests may or your clients may potentially try to use that to negotiate. But as we all know, our time is our time. Doesn't cost us any more to play for 200 people as it does to play for 150. Maybe a little bit different equipment, but not that much of a difference. So just kind of keep those things in mind.
Sometimes it's harder to get 60 people to dance. I can get 200 to dance really quickly, but sometimes you get 60 people and nobody wants to be the only one on the dance floors, but they're dancing in their seats. Just waiting for them to all get up and do something, slow dance, cha-cha, something, get them all on the dance floor again.
I will say this though, the smaller weddings that I've seen, they stay longer. If
Yes.
that makes sense, right? Like when you have the large crowds, it seems like you have this mass exodus, like right after dinner, before you even get a chance to really do anything. There's like this mass exodus, and you're narrowed down. But on these smaller ones, like you might lose a couple people, but most everybody's hanging out until the end.
They're
Um,
committed.
exactly. So they're the more important people anyway. So maybe that's why. You don't have the people who was like, oh yeah, it was my babysitter when I was 18, and I haven't seen her for 30 years, but I decided to have her at my daughter's wedding.
Yep.
Yeah, she's not gonna stick around. Okay. All right, we're gonna pause again. We're gonna come back.